Well, I'm delighted to be joined by Joe Edwards, head of the big game against Everton on Sunday. Joe, we'll forget the last week, okay? Never happened. Didn't happen. Forget it. We're moving forward. We're looking into the future. Wolves are sixth in the table. They've got a fantastic chance of getting Europa League football. And let's hope they finish sixth. They've had a fantastic season. Let's forget about seventh. We don't want to talk about eighth and the connotations about that. Wolves, it's in their hands, most importantly of all. It's in their hands, and what they want to do now is recover from these two defeats and get a win against Everton. How do they do that? Are there going to be wholesale changes? What do you think?
I think there's scope for a few. I don't think a few would be the worst thing. I think they'll go 3-5-2. Just got a feeling about that, especially with Adama kind of taking another dislocation of his shoulder on Wednesday, the fourth of the season. I think you've just got to monitor him carefully, at least for this game. So, I can see Adama being on the bench. That means 3-5-2 with Jota and Jimenez as the front two. Perhaps, depending on the fitness of Pedro Neto, playing somebody in that hole to just kind of bridge that gap. Maybe give Matinho a rest, maybe give Johnny a rest. Vinagre, Dendoncker, these are players that could be called upon. But either way, Nuno just would be looking for a way to kind of freshen things up. It's gone a bit stagnant these last couple of games, and whether it's personnel, whether it's a tweak to the tactics or something like that, Wolves just need something fresh, a little bit of a spark, and hopefully they get that and are able to beat Everton.
Yeah, and look, the most important thing, I guess, is that to score goals, you've got to create chances, and that's what Wolves need to do. And at home, albeit with no fans in there, they need to really be on the front foot. And I think we've discussed before, we discussed on the podcast as well, that that last half an hour, the game was there to be won, and it was Sheffield United who were doing all the being the aggressor. I think Wolves need to now go on the front foot, albeit against a decent Everton side, but the side that can be got at, and really crank up the volume.
Yeah, crank up the volume. That's a nice phrase. And if you've got Traore on the bench, then if you need that extra impetus going into that last half an hour, then of course he's the man to give you just that against tiring legs. So I think 3-5-2 is probably the way to go. It just seems like that will be the system. It tends to be the system in these home games as well. Nuno kind of flips and flops between the two, but just got a feeling 3-5-2. Everton, of course, not kind of been the best since the restart, but indifferent. So they're there to be beaten. Hopefully Wolves have that belief and drive to win the game.
Yeah, but Everton are dangerous as well. Richarlison is a top player. Dominic Calvert-Lewin's had a great season, albeit hasn't had a fantastic last couple of games. You got Coleman and Digne down the wings, almost like the wing backs that Wolves have, albeit they kind of played 4-4-2 recently with Bernard on the right hand side. So there is goals, but they will create chances as well. So Pickford has got a rick in him as well, by the way. So it's more Pickford, if you're going to give him, chances to make mistakes, then you've got to put shots on target. So that's what Wolves are going to have to do. They're going to have to really go for it here. I can see a pretty open game, Joe, to be honest, and I don't think that's a bad thing for Wolves. What Wolves need to do, we'll talk about the top of the pitch, and we've talked about Podence, and we've talked about Neto potentially coming into the side and maybe utilising those substitutions. Is that the defence have got to get more of that rigidity, that steely solidity. I can't find the word anyway. It's been a long night. It was a long night doing the watch along. So, but they need to get it back. They need to get that steely nature behind them, because they've been so good defensively this season. And I think Willy Bolly hasn't looked himself last couple of games. I don't think Cody had a great game, and Romain Saïss had a difficult game as well against Sheffield United. So these three, especially the likes of Ruben Vinagre, are going to play down that left-hand side, who are a little bit more of an attacking move. If you've got Doc down that right-hand side, I'm pretty sure that he'll still be playing. They need to just focus in and get back to basics and get that cohesive unit that they have done for most of this season.
Yeah, they've just been a bit erratic, almost like rushing about and rushing things, playing out from the back, misplacing passes, which is unlike Conor Cody. And then Willy Bolly kind of jumping into challenges. I mean, we saw Billy Sharp kind of skip past him at Sheffield United, which was really uncharacteristic of Bolly, kind of jumping into a challenge rather than standing his ground. So, yeah, they've got to brush up. Everton, of course, have got decent players going forward. Richarlison is the main one. Calvert-Lewin has scored a few goals as well, of course. But they are there to be got at defensively. You look at Yerry Mina, who's probably going to play because Mason Holgate looks like a bit of a doubt. Michael Keane, I mean, we've said in the past he turns like a bus. I mean, that might be a bit harsh, but he's not the quickest across the ground. So if you're thinking, Diogo Jota and Raul Jimenez, hopefully being able to link up together in that two as they like to do, could spell success for Wolves. And lo and behold, they need it, because after these two performances, they really could do with a response if they want to finish in the Europa League spot, let alone Champions League.
Give a prediction then, Joe. It is Everton. It is Wolverhampton Wanderers at Molineux. Give me a prediction. Go!
I'm going to say 1-0. Hopefully it will be a more open game. I just don't think both teams are that high on confidence at the minute. But yeah, hopefully be a bit more of an open game, a bit more of an entertaining game. I mean, these last two have not set the pulses racing at all. I mean, it's disappointing to lose games, but it's the manner of the defeat as well that has been especially disappointing. So yeah, more open game, a few more chances. Fingers crossed Wolves put one away. I'm
writing my scoreline on the paper. Can you read my mind, Joe, before I unveil it? Are you ready? After 3, you've got to say it. 1, 2, 3.
2-2.
Oh, look at that. Does it look like 2-2? It might look like 5-5 on camera. I don't know about the mirror imaging, but I say 2-2. I see it's going to be a Desmond.
It's almost like we discussed it on the podcast. Oh,
Mental.
wow.
Joe, I'll see you at Molineux, pal, on Sunday. Fingers crossed 3 points. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.